All week long, there's been a big question that has been lingering in the air. Is fracking safe? Radisav Vidic is an environmental engineer who teaches at the University of Pittsburgh. I asked him that very question.
Absolutely. I think it's a matter of following the best management practices, being careful about how you do your job, and doing things in an organized and, safe manner. There's absolutely no reason why we cannot develop, this valuable natural resource without any significant impact on the environment. Of course, this is an industrial activity. There will be some impact on the environment, just like any other industry, but it's not going to be anything like what the doomsday sayers and environmental activists are promoting at the moment.
Professor Vidic, though, over the past week, of course, we've told the stories of people who've experienced nothing short of a nightmare when things went wrong at their homes. The industry basically blames human error for all of this. And I want to ask you, is it possible to eliminate human error from the process?
I'm afraid that's going to be difficult because there's always going to have to be people involved. Look, we had a Chernobyl accident everybody's familiar with. That was a human error, a big one, so the human factor always comes into play. But like I said, if there is a rigorous training and safety program in a company that is involved in the fracking, then there is no reason why we would have any kind of fears and accidents or incidents, nightmares that people are referring to.
Now let's talk a little bit about water, because I know you've focused a lot on that. Now, we've explained in this past week how fracking requires literally millions of gallons of water per well. Finding that much water is a problem in places like Western China, where a lot of shale oil is believed to be under the ground. Is there any way to do this without that much water?
Well, there are, currently there are technologies available that don't use any water whatsoever. You can frack with a liquid propane, for example. The problem, of course, is the performance issue with the liquid propane, and the other problem is the safety issue. Imagine you have a lot of grilled tanks around, if God forbid something should happen, explosion, it's a potentially catastrophic event. And that's one of the reasons why the majors are shying away from that technology. But there is perhaps other developments on the horizon that may reduce the need for water. And first of all, there is a lot to be done in optimizing the hydraulic fracturing and strategy and pumping strategy and positions of the fracks, that can perhaps lead to a significant reduction in the amount of water being used. And then ultimately, if you figure out a way how to frack with some other liquid other than water, you can get away, without having to use water at all.
So if you will, talk to me about some of these other countries. We've looked at Argentina, South Africa. We talked about China this week. How do they fit into this overall puzzle?
Well, there are projected or estimated or projected or proven reserves in a number of these countries, but for example, in China, they're finding that getting the shale gas out of the Chinese shale in Sichuan Basin is a little bit more difficult than they expected because it's a little deeper. The porosity and recovery rates are not as great. You had a situation in Poland where a couple of companies pulled out of the exploration phase. You just had a situation in Lithuania where one of the major companies pulled out because of the uncertain regulations. And that tells you all about, the factors that have to come into play in order to develop these gas. It's not just the fact that the gas is there. There are a number of other factors that have to be readily available to facilitate development of the shale gas.
We're going to have to leave it there. Professor Radisav Vidic, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a nice day.